Hey, happy Monday, the 30th day of September. Or is it the 30th day of November? It's the 30th day of September. 2019, it's Monday. Dan Kuntz, your host. Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you stayed warm this weekend. That's the big thing everybody's talking about, this unseasonably record cold temperatures that happened over the weekend. In fact, not only did we break records on Saturday and Sunday, we blew past records. We shattered records. We'll talk about that when we get to the forecast. There is a freeze warning that goes into effect at 2 o'clock tonight. So in the wee small hours of the morning until 10 o'clock on Tuesday. So if you have any kind of sensitive vegetation out there that simply can't handle the cold this early, it's still growing season. You got to take care of that. Outdoor plumbing, that kind of stuff, because this is not normal for this time of year. That forecast is right around the corner. Also, we have a whole weekend worth of sports to talk about. Pretty good weekend for some teams like the Seahawks and the Huskies. Not so much for the Cougars or the Wild or the Mariners. We'll also have your latest Monday morning news to get to. Plus everything you're used to, the obscure holiday today and history, birthdays, and everybody is entitled to Mike McNighty's opinion. And in the back half of the show, in a conversation we taped last week, Dr. Michelle Price, who is the superintendent of the North Central Educational Services District, the NCESD, came in and paid me a visit. They come by and see me once a month, and Michelle, of course, is in charge of the entire operation. They have a vacancy on the board of directors for the North Central Educational Services District. They're looking to get back to full strength, and if you're interested, you want to stay close to that TV for that conversation. Even if you're not interested, you're going to learn something from Dr. Price. It's 39 degrees. It's cold out. The sun's been up for just about 5 minutes. Sun came up at 6:58 this morning. Let's go around the valley with the Valley View cameras, courtesy of Localtel Sky-Fi high-speed wireless. And yeah, that's some snow up there, I think. Leavenworth got some snow. There's definitely some snow farther back there. Yeah, it came down pretty good. In the upper elevations, Mission Ridge got, 6-7 inches. Montana, of course, a lot of people have been talking about that. There's a place in Montana that got like 3 feet of snow. Are you kidding me? Right now, as far as the passes are concerned, believe it or not, there is a traction tire advisory on Blewett Pass. It's snowing on Blewett with compact snow and ice on the roadway there. The other two passes, the major mountain passes, I-90 and US 2 Stevens, they're okay. And we're in for another cold day today. Camera 2, where are we off to, Megan? Let's go look at that beautiful view of, that's the Tumwater? Okay. Somewhere down there is Leavenworth. Good morning, Leavenworth. I hope the Autumn Leaf Festival went well. Of course, the weather was not cooperating in the Bavarian Village. And speaking of that, poor Megan had to go videotape the Autumn Leaf Festival parade on Saturday. She got through it. Our poor Canberra people got really cold Friday night at Wildcat Stadium as we covered the Eastmont Wildcats and the West Valley Eagles in high school football. It was chilly, and it's still chilly, and it's going to stay cold. Although the low pressure, that cold upper low, is going to start exiting the area tomorrow. It's pretty stubborn in that it's ushered in all this cold temperatures, and what we don't want is to have clear skies, because then there's no place for the cold temperatures to go, and that's going to be the case. Stay close for those details. Camera 3. Hello and good morning to the Waterville camera, looking towards Lake Chelan's on the other side of that area there. Look at the snow there. It's eventually going to taper off. It's still only September. This isn't the beginning of winter. We got a long way to go before that, but I think the days of 70 degree temperatures are pretty much gone now. The Columbia down there at the bottom of your screen. Look, I just don't want to look at that snow right now. It's still September. Oh well, camera 4. Let's take a nice slow dissolve to the Omi Gardens camera. There you can see Jump Off Ridge and the Mission Ridge area got some snow. Again, not going to stick around particularly long, but we still have a few more days of well below normal temperatures. Nice view there from Omi Gardens. And just like that, and I mean like that, my tree, the oak tree in my front yard, went from summertime to autumn in about 2 days. Now all the leaves are already starting to change. That's just the way it is. From the National Weather Service, here's that forecast. There you go. We're going to have clouds most of the day today. Some late afternoon sun breaks, a distinct possibility. That high today at 51, well below normal. We have a freeze warning. If it goes into effect at 2 o'clock tonight, and it goes through 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, take a look at where you live. That's the forecast overnight low temperatures. So for the Wenatchee Valley, just a little bit above freezing, but most of the other locations that you see below freezing. So again, it will kill plants that aren't used to getting this cold this quickly, and all kinds of vegetation that might be sensitive to very cold temperatures, especially since we're still in September. And again, this cold upper low is going to remain around here through Tuesday. With that freeze, that cold temperatures, we set some records, by the way, over the weekend. Saturday's high was 47 degrees. That broke the record for the coldest high temperature for September 28th. That was 53 degrees. That high was set back in 1971 and 1977. The 47 degrees on Saturday, by the way, 23 degrees below normal. And if you thought that was weird, Sunday, colder still. Sunday was 28 degrees below normal. Our high on Sunday was only 43. That broke the record for the coldest high temperature for September 29th. The old record was 59. So we broke records on Saturday and Sunday, and we creamed them. I mean, not even close. Just blew those records right out of the water. And look at that overnight low tonight, 33 degrees. And as I mentioned before, gradually warming up. This is going to take its sweet time. The cold air is going to be hanging around for a while. When we have clear skies at night, the clouds do not hold the heat in, which is why our overnight low is going to be just about the freezing mark for the Wenatchee Valley tonight. You might want to watch out for some black ice on tomorrow morning's commute. But then we warm up to 58, 63. All of these temperatures, by the way, are below normal, at least our afternoon highs are concerned. But eventually we'll dry out and we'll warm up as we welcome October, which comes at midnight tonight. Again, a freeze warning begins at 2 o'clock this morning, goes until 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning. Once we get past that little scary moment of really cold temperatures, we should be okay. But boy, what a weekend it was. And by the way, my furnace works, since I finally had to turn it on for the first time since probably March. It's 7 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have your Monday morning news, so there's quite a bit to get to. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 3 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel.
My first experience with CVCH, I had to come in with my daughter by myself with a cut in my hand that required stitches. And the care and compassion at CVCH was really significant, that they took the care and compassion and made me feel more as a human instead of just a patient there. The care they have for their community all around, inside and outside the clinic, is what I feel like is different. And that's what makes me want to come back to CVCH and recommend them to my friends and family.
Hi, my name is Jim Heinlein, independent agent and owner at Springwater Insurance Group, formerly known as Senior Insurance Services. And we recently decided to make that name change because we're offering so many different other types of insurances in addition to Medicare education and enrollment, like we've been doing for 15 years. So if you have questions about Medicare or any other forms of insurances, give us a call at Springwater Insurance Group, 888-2600, or visit us at any of our 5 locations.
Welcome back. It is 8 minutes after the hour. We have considerable cloud cover, 39 degrees outside of our studios. We'll be in the lower 50s today. Considerable cloudiness most of the day with some late afternoon sunshine, and then temperatures right about the freezing mark for the overnight low tonight. Then we'll warm up gradually as the week progresses. There's what's making headlines on this Monday. 1 person is dead, 2 others injured in a 2-car collision that halted traffic last night on the Kittitas County side of Blewett Pass. State troopers has said it happened a little after 7 near the Swak campground. Troopers say 24-year-old Jacob McDonald of Ellensburg died at Central Washington Hospital from injuries sustained after he lost control of his GMC Canyon while driving northbound on the highway about 24 miles north of Ellensburg. His vehicle struck a car driven by 43-year-old Jeremy Long of Pasco. He and his passenger, also from Pasco, were transported to Central Washington Hospital for treatment. Troopers say McDonald was driving too fast for conditions. A Leavenworth man remains jailed for allegedly pulling a gun on a delivery driver when he stopped to drop off packages at a Wenatchee store. Police say the man in the left of this security video is 36-year-old James Eugene Potridge, displaying a handgun to a FedEx driver. Now Potridge, I should say, who was on foot, allegedly made eye contact with the driver as his vehicle passed on North Wenatchee Avenue, then approached him and drew the weapon when the truck stopped to unload at Hooked on Toys. Now, Potridge was arrested minutes later in a nearby parking lot. Police say he was carrying a .38 caliber handgun similar to the one seen in the video, plus a magazine of ammunition. Prosecutors charged him Friday with second-degree assault. He's being held on $10,000 bond. He is scheduled for arraignment on October 7th. Well, the Wenatchee City Council gave the green light to a $2.8 million remodeling of the old City Hall building. T.W. Clark Construction was awarded the contract, even though their low bid of $2.1 million is less than the city's estimated project costs. Now, the South Chelan Avenue building is being repurposed to accommodate the Social Security Administration. They're going to move from their current location inside the former federal building into the old City Hall. The General Services Administration will be leasing the building from the city after selling the federal building, of course, at an auction 2 years ago. Mayor Frank Kuntz says the city can handle its increased share of the costs through future property sales.
At the end of the day, I think it's still the right thing to do, but our facility fund is starting to get sort of, we will be getting the fire station sort of ready for sale, I think, just as soon as the fire folks get out of there, if not a little bit ahead of that, just get it listed and get it going. And then we're working on getting the facilities guys out of the police station so that when IT moves up here, we can get that thing on the market as well and get that sold. So we're fine. It's just more than we thought we were going to do. I still think it's the right thing to do.
So the breakdown of the costs goes something like this. The city will pay $1.3 million. The General Services Administration will pick up the remaining $1.5 million. The remodel is scheduled to be completed by June of next year. Well, there appears to be overwhelming opposition to plans by the federal government to locate grizzly bears into the North Cascades. Chelan County Commissioners heard 2 hours of mostly negative comments from residents in the Lake Chelan area at a special forum on Thursday night.
I think the biggest problem we're going to have is that if this happens, we're going to have exactly the same problem we have with the wolves. We have a recovered wolf population, but that isn't good enough. They want more of them. Thank you.
Thank you.
The meeting is one of two being hosted by the commissioners. It's held in conjunction with the North Cascades Ecosystem Grizzly Bear Restoration Plan. Now, the National Park Service and the United States Department of Fish and Wildlife, they've completed a draft environmental impact statement that proposes up to 200 grizzlies being introduced into the region over the next several years. Now, commissioners in both Chelan and Douglas counties are on the record in opposition to the plans, and everybody who spoke at the meeting supported that position, including Stehekin Guest Ranch owner Cliff Courtney, who worries about the bears' impact on tourism.
It's a real bad idea. We're a tourist county. Our tourism is how Stehekin survives. You can't expect me to start educating every day hiker on how to carry bells, always hike with a group, train them how to use pepper spray. That's not reasonable. They will simply stop coming. And so it's not all about the dollar, but the balance is simply not there at this time. And I really don't believe that this group is behind this is pro-bear or pro-environment. I think they're anti-human. That's the real problem.
Commissioners are scheduled to hold a second public comment session. That's going to be tomorrow at the Confluence Technology Center in Old Station. The feds have set an October 24th deadline for written comments on the EIS. Now, getting stuck in an elevator is never very fun, but it's even more frustrating if you're a Wenatchee family and you're on a holiday in the Bavarian Alps. Wenatchee Police Captain Edgar Reinfeld was vacationing last week in Germany with his wife and his parents and had been sharing photos of the trip on his Facebook page. In one of the posts, Reinfeld describes being trapped in an elevator after returning to their Munich apartment following a dinner in Salzburg, Austria. Reinfeld spoke with NCW Life about the incident. He describes what happened after entering the elevator in the apartment building's basement parking garage.
As we started out of the basement parking garage, the elevator went up a little bit, and then it slammed back down with a huge boom and came to a stop, and we were stuck. After trying to call the Airbnb owner and getting no service and trying to use the elevator intercom, we finally dialed 112 for the emergency number for fire here in Munich. And about 5 minutes later, or 10 minutes later, they were there, and then spent about 5 minutes getting the doors open and then pulled us out of the elevator, which was stuck between floors.
Reinfeld added that he's never been involved as a police officer in an elevator rescue, but he says he personally was rescued about 20 years ago when he was trapped for about 45 minutes alone in an elevator at Link Transit's Columbia Station. The good captain needs to stay out of elevators, but sometimes you gotta ride one. The elevator, of course, is the most popular form of mass transportation in the world. Sometimes it's the only way to get from point A to point B. Quarter after the hour on this Monday, a complete wrap-up of what made headlines over the weekend will come your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock with Grant Olson and Eric Grandstrom. Grant will be in the anchor chair. No, wait a minute, that's not right. Grant is on assignment this week. That's right. Eric, I believe, is flying solo this week. So Grant's taking some well-deserved time off. Eric will be handling the news duties at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight. You can also watch it on demand by going to our website at ncwlife.com, ncwlife.com. Click on the Watch Now icon, and we live stream everything. Or you can watch on demand. You can go back and look at any of our archived shows, again, by going to our website. You want to bookmark it, and don't forget to drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. News at ncwlife.com is our email address. 16 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, a lot of sports to get to, as you might imagine. We have the obscure holiday today in history birthdays. Everybody is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. And my conversation with Dr. Michelle Price, the superintendent of the North Central Educational Services District. You don't want to miss that. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live from Studio 4 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
Let Fitterers Furniture help you turn your dreams into reality with their exciting selection of quality furnishing and accessories. Whatever style you are looking for, you will find beautifully crafted furniture of exceptional value and the unmatched Fitterers customer service to make this shopping experience one you will keep coming back to. Make a point of visiting Fitterers Furniture in downtown Ellensburg.
Quality, selection, and service since 1896.
Why run all over town when you can get the financial services you need under one roof? The location is 521 Chelan Street right here in Wenatchee. Accounting solutions for success. Insurance from trusted choices. Real estate, the power of the edge. Personal, professional, preferable. It's all right here. Get the edge on your financial needs. Now available in Chelan as well. Get more information at augustedge.com.
We're back at 18 minutes after the hour on this Monday. Let's talk sports. Seahawks took care of business down in the desert. They have some pretty bad memories of Arizona, but hey, no problems yesterday. 27-10. Hawks over the Cardinals. Chris Carson rushing for over 100 yards. Russell Wilson throwing for 240 yards and a touchdown. Seahawks improved to 3-1 of the season. Short week for the Seahawks, who turn right around and host the Rams. Thursday Night Football will come your way at 5:20 on Thursday night. To the Les Schwab College football scoreboard from Saturday, Savannah Ahmed rushing for 153 yards, including an 87-yard touchdown run, and the Washington defense picked off 3 Southern California passes. Huskies knock off the Trojans 28-14. Tyler Huntley threw for a couple of touchdowns, ran for 2 others. Number 17 Utah beating Washington State 38-13. Cougar coach Mike Leach not shy about sharing his thoughts after the game.
You know, and it's difficult to say how tough Utah is because they had token resistance on both sides of the ball for us. And, well, we're a very soft team. You know, we get a lot of good press. We like to read it a lot. We like to pat ourselves on the back. You know, and if we get any resistance, we fold. And what's amazing about this is most of these guys were on the same team last year. That was a tough team. Last year's team was a tough team for us. And we got nearly the same guys, and now all of a sudden they're not tough. You know, they're fat, dumb, and happy and entitled. So,
by the way, the Cougars and the Oregon State Beavers are the only 2 Pac-12 teams that do not have a conference win. Also Saturday, Eastern Washington beating North Dakota 35-20. Central Washington fell to Western Oregon 36-26. Let's go back to Friday. Check the Les Schwab prep scoreboard from Friday night action. Eastmont scored, well, pretty much every way you can score in a 58-0 blowout of West Valley of Spokane. Grant Olson and Steve Sandman have the call right here on the NCW Live channel.
Everhart this time will go under center. Talley behind him. Once again, wing T offense for these Wildcats, and it looks like across the goal line, and it's a touchdown, Eastmont.
Well, 2 plays from scrimmage, Grant. I mean, Eastmont's not fooling around in the early going here. Up 8-0 already, 9:02 early in the first quarter here.
Everhart under center, split out well to the right side. For the Wildcats is Austin Ruffins, who's going to stay in there. Hand off up the middle. There's Carson Talley. Look out. Makes a beautiful move. The 5-yard line. Still on his feet and still moving those legs. Touchdown, Wildcats. Carson Talley, 18 yards.
So he's got 19 on the night, Grant, but that's his second touchdown the night for the Wildcats.
Beautiful run by Talley. Clark in the backfield. Here's Matt Allen again. The pass, and it's picked up by the Wildcats. Number 44, Nathan Chang. Right side into the end zone. Touchdown, Wildcats. Pick 6 for Eastmont. The Wildcats blowing this one open now. 22-0 here in this first quarter. Boy, and that just wasn't a good idea. Not a very good pass by Matt Allen.
No, Chang had it read perfectly. He cut right in front of the receiver. He saw it the entire time, Grant, if you look at the replay. He was all over it. That one you could see coming.
Matt Allen at quarterback spreads things out a little bit now. I think they're kind of figuring out this run game isn't going to happen. Rollins with it. He fumbles the football. Is Eastmont going to pick it up? They will, and on the run, it's the linebacker, Tony Lopez, into the end zone. Touchdown, Wildcats. Tony Lopez on the fumble recovery, only a sophomore himself, and Eastmont on the board immediately here in this second quarter. How about that? Here's Carson Everhart, shotgun to begin this second half with Carson Talley in the backfield next to him. One receiver each side. This time, Austin Ruffins in motion. Handoff. Here's Talley, and he's got a ton of real estate. 45, 50, 40. There he goes down the sideline. 20, 10, into the end zone. Touchdown, Wildcats.
75 yards from the line of scrimmage. What a run by Talley. No flags on the play.
That is how you begin a second half of play.
Eastmont improves to 4-0 with a victory. Also in Big 9 play on Friday, Davis knocked off Moses Lake 36-21. To the Caribou Trail League on Friday, Cheney handed the Cashmere their first loss of the season, 22-15. Cascade topped Kings 23-14, and Chelan no problems over Granger 48-14. Central Washington Athletic Conference play, Ellensburg edged Ephrata 18-7. Quincy lost to Othello 23-6. And in the Bees on Friday, Antioch beat up on Liberty Bell 72-20. Soap Lake stopped Waterville Mansfield 47-6. Lake Roosevelt shutting out Manson 28-0. Coming up this Friday, our crew will be in Cashmere. We'll be broadcasting the Bulldogs and the OMAC Pioneers. Eric Granstrom, Steve Sandman with the call pregame 6:45, kickoff at 7 o'clock. To the Les Schwab Prep soccer scoreboard from Saturday. All of these teams played under miserable conditions. Cascade beating Olympic 2-1 Friday, and then they lost to Lakeside Saturday 2-0. In the Cascade Classic. Also on Saturday, Eastmont stunned Sunnyside 7-2. Wenatchee shuts out Moses Lake 2-0. Lake Roosevelt doubled up Manson 4-2. Quincy beat up Toppenish 8-0, and Ephrata was the winner. They beat Prosser 6-1. Weekend did not go very well for the Wenatchee Wild. They began their 2-game swing through British Columbia with a tilt at Chilliwack. On Friday, bookend goals from Brian Adams and Dallas Farrell to start and end the game. Came around 6 goals by the home team. Chiefs wiped the board 6-2. Then on Saturday, Wenatchee got on the board first with a goal by Adams just before the first intermission. Merritt came out, scored 15 seconds into the second frame, and the game had remained tied through regulation at 1. Then the Centennials would win it 2 minutes and 33 seconds into overtime, 2-1 the final. Wenatchee heads to the Okanagan Event Center this Friday and Saturday. It's the BCHL Showcase Festival. They'll take on Salmon Arm and Penticton. And finally, the Mariners, Kyle Seager, hit a 2-run home run, and the Mariners won their season finale. They defeated Oakland at T-Mobile Park yesterday afternoon. The final was 3-1. Austin Nola went 2 for 3 at the plate with 2 runs and a double. Seattle finishes the season 68-94. It marks, 17 years in a row now the Mariners have not made the playoffs? No, 2001 was the last time they made the playoffs. That's the longest streak of any team in major professional sports of not making the playoffs. Of course, the baseball playoffs begin tomorrow. The A's head to the wild card playoff. They'll play the American League wild card is Wednesday at home against Tampa Bay. The National League wild card game is tomorrow, Milwaukee and Washington. And that's just some of the games that people are playing On this Monday, 25 minutes after the hour, the obscure holiday of the day today, it's National Chewing Gum Day. There you go. Pop a bubble, fresh in your mouth, with your favorite piece of chewing gum. Why on this day, particularly September 30th? Because William Wrigley was born on September 30th in 1861, started the Wrigley Chewing Gum Company in Chicago in 1891 with all the money that he had in the world, $32. When he died in 1932, he was worth $32 million. There's an American success story. Humans have used something akin to chewing gum for about 5,000 years. Originally, you would chew gum to stave off hunger. You would put something in your mouth and chew it, and it would create saliva, and you would swallow, and that way you supposedly. Studies show, believe it or not, that chewing gum improves memory, reduces stress, and increases alertness. By the way, if you chew sugar-free gum, you're actually improving your oral hygiene. It also helps curb various cravings, and it improves digestion. But again, only sugar-free gum. You chew gum loaded with sugar, and you're doing the exact opposite to your mouth. Happy National Chewing Gum Day. Let's do Today in History. There's the Babe, the Bambino, George Herman Babe Ruth. September 30th, 1927, 92 years ago today, Babe Ruth became the first player in baseball history to hit 60 home runs in a season, broke his old record of 59. The Babe held that record until Roger Maris broke it, when Roger Maris hit 61 home runs. In 1961, Roger Maris held the record until Mark McGwire hit 70 in 1998, and then Mark McGwire only held the record for 3 years before Barry Bonds broke it with 73 home runs in a single season. That was back in 2001. Most people kind of, hey, Mark McGwire was on the juice. Barry Bonds was probably on the juice. We're not going to count those. But the Bambino was the first. He did it on the last day of the regular season 92 years ago today. 1935, September 30th, 1935, 84 years ago today, the Hoover Dam was dedicated, one of the most remarkable feats of engineering in this country's history. Fun facts about Hoover Dam: Lake Mead, behind Hoover Dam, when it's full, is the largest reservoir in the United States, bigger even than Lake Roosevelt behind Grand Coulee Dam. Hoover Dam contains enough concrete to stretch all the way across America. And although Herbert Hoover, the man who the dam was named after, was very much alive in 1935 during the dedication ceremony, he wasn't invited to the ceremonies. In fact, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who spoke, never even mentioned Hoover's name. What kind of dedication is that? Hoover Dam was dedicated September 30th, 1935. We're getting ready for the baseball season. September 30th, 1947, one of the biggest and most important World Series finally began. Game 1 of the 1947 World Series was played before nearly 74,000 people at Yankee Stadium. Of course, the 1947 World Series was the first World Series ever to be televised. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, the first African-American player ever to play in the World Series. Over $2 million in receipts, the first time that ever happened. It had the first ever pinch hit home run, the first World Series to have 6 umpires on the field. It was a landmark World Series. The Yankees won in 7 games, and it is the oldest World Series featuring a player who is still alive, the third baseman for the New York Yankees. Dr. Bobby Brown is still with us. Everybody else involved in the 1947 World Series is now playing baseball in heaven, I hope. And 51 years ago today, the big gamble, September 30th, 1968, the Boeing 747 is rolled out and shown to the public for the very first time. Boeing was rolling the dice. They basically put everything they had in this company. It was the biggest gamble that these big jumbo jets would be the way to go, and it pretty much saved Boeing. First thing that people thought when they rolled out this 747 is, man, that's a big airplane. And it is a big airplane. They don't make it anymore, of course, but it's a pretty impressive piece of engineering work. Happy 51st birthday to the Boeing 747. One birthday to pass along to you, Johnny Mathis. There he is. He's had 73 albums make the Billboard album chart. He's sold over 360 million records worldwide. Was raised in San Francisco, California, was considered one of the best all-around athletes ever to come out of the Bay Area. Then he became a singer. He's an outstanding golfer. He's had 9 holes in one in his lifetime, and his 1958 album, Johnny's Greatest Hits, spent 490 consecutive weeks on the Billboard Top 200 Albums chart. Happy 84th birthday to Johnny Mathis. Oh, and one of them is belated happy birthday to Charity. She had a birthday on Saturday, and I was going to get it on the show on Friday, and I didn't. My bad, Charity. Oh, yeah, I can't forget about Tucker Wagner. M. Tucker Wagner, content producer extraordinaire, celebrated his birthday on Saturday, and we have surveillance footage to show you later on. We're going to take a break. When we come back, everyone is entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion in my conversation with Dr. Michelle Price, the superintendent of the North Central Educational Services District. They need a board member. It could be you. All that coming up between now and the top of the hour. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
We financed our home with the help of Tracy Dry through Guild Mortgage, and we were quite satisfied with everything she did.
Tracy takes the time to get to know you. She finds what your wants are, your needs, and what works for you and your family and your financial situation.
Everything was on time, and she took the responsibility off of our shoulders. So we would recommend her anytime to anybody.
She takes care of us.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service-oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
In the heart of Apple Country sits Lone Pine Fruit and Espresso, a cozy cafe, a fabulous fruit stand, and an eclectic gift shop. Stop in for a hard cider, local brew, or an espresso. The cool, crisp air brings in a harvest of fresh veggies and fall fruits like pears, plums, and apples. Have lunch and choose the perfect pumpkin for your pie or porch. Celebrate the season with a trip to Lone Pine Fruit and Espresso.
It's Manson Hydrofest on Lake Chelan, September 28th and 29th. American Powerboat Association racing teams will be competing for the 2019 Inboard Western Divisional Championships. 14 classes of inboard hydroplanes, flat bottoms, vintage hydroplanes, tunnel boats, and junior outboard hydroplanes will tear up the waters of Lake Chelan. Admission is free. Brought to you by Seattle Inboard Racing Association, Lake Chelan Chamber of Commerce, and presented by the Manson Chamber of Commerce and moretomanson.com.
Presenting a whole new line of more powerful, more fuel-efficient tractors from Coyote. It may not be the kind your grandfather bought 60 years ago, but it's probably the kind he'd buy today. Test drive one at your local Coyote dealer.
Rose Tractor, quality brands you can trust year after year.
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I recently was at a school board meeting where a gentleman said that if there were armed guards and metal detectors at schools, we needed to be ready for kids to suffer from PTSD. Now, meaning no disrespect, well, maybe some disrespect. PTSD is caused by suffering a significant sexual assault or a trauma so severe you expect to die. Do we really believe that our high school students are so sensitive, coddled, and overly protected, and naive for that matter, that the idea of passing through a metal detector is going to send them to therapy? This is exactly the kind of senseless hyperbole we need to avoid if we're ever going to have any chance of deterring a school shooting here. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
This is Caitlin Hedersheet, the producer of the NCW Life magazine. Each week, I'm bringing you a look behind the scenes of the faces, places, and events that make North Central Washington the place we call home. Tune in every weekday for an in-depth look at a new topic each week. From local artists in their studios to businesses breaking barriers that might surprise you and everything in between. Join me on the NCW Life magazine right here on the NCW Life channel.
My name is Ralph Sorensen, and I own Homestead Vinyl Products. We make vinyl fencing. We manufacture the vinyl fencing here. We also sell and install vinyl fencing.
Along with that, Homestead Vinyl Products sells cedar, chain link, custom designed vinyl pergolas, arbors, gazebos, and ornamental fencing. To view complete projects, check their website, homesteadvinylpr.net, or stop by their showroom in Entiat on Highway 97A.
The world around us is constantly changing. Major employers in North Central Washington have expressed a need for capable, qualified engineering technologists who can think critically and solve problems. And at Wenatchee Valley College, we listened. We are pleased to offer a Bachelor of Applied Science Engineering Technology degree to provide you with a world of new opportunities. Your time is now. The future is waiting for you.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Once a month, we set aside some very important time for some very important people, our friends of the North Central Educational Services District. We visited with Pete Phillips and Dr. Sue Kane and a whole bunch of people who really put together an outstanding program. But we've only had the head cheese, the superintendent of the NCESD, on just a couple of times. Dr. Michelle Price is my guest. Welcome back to the program, stranger.
Well, thank you, Dan. It's nice to be here.
You got to be over here a little bit more often.
Well, I told you, as much as I have to say, my team is so incredible. It's way better for them to hear from them.
You know, it's funny when you surround yourself with people who know what they're doing. It really makes you look good, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
And you have a really good staff. Who's kidding you? You do.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I have to say that we've hired well.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've done well. And you're growing, too.
We are growing. Yeah, we've definitely increased our services and opportunities for our school districts that we serve around the Central Valleys here.
And it's a big footprint.
It's a big footprint. We serve from Warden to Oroville, so across 4 counties.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's big. We got a lot of things to catch up. We haven't seen Michelle in so long. We got a lot of things to talk about. But first thing we want to talk about, I, for one, am a huge fan of giant, novelty, oversized checks. And there's a giant, novelty, oversized check that the bank, I'm sure, accepted.
Yes.
Talk about what we're looking at. What is that, Michelle?
You bet. So that is a check for $20,000 from YASIT, which is the Young Adult Consumer Education Trust, and they are a nonprofit based out of Wenatchee here, and their whole focus is on financial literacy for young adults. And so what they've done is partnered with us, and Junior Achievement is also a program that helps support kids with financial literacy, economics, and really understanding entrepreneurship. And so YASIT is supporting 29 school districts across the region with an opportunity to start up, engage in young achievement programs, or to send kids on a field trip over to the Yakima Young Achievement Center.
For young adults to learn fiscal responsibility is so critical, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
You know, we see so many young people who just don't have any idea of how to manage finances. It's not something they're learning at home, and so we have some opportunities definitely to help grow their skills within the school environment.
And kids go out and they get a job, or their first job, be it a summertime job or whatever it is, and and they get their first check, and they've never seen a check that big, and before you know it, it's off to GameStop and stuff
blow
like
it.
that, and they don't really understand. Because if you get going early, if you start building up a good credit on the right way to do it from a young age, and you understand fiscal, you're going to be, by the time you're 30, you're going to be well ahead of the game.
Absolutely. The opportunities available to young people who learn to take care of their finances and to manage it and to, not get into credit problems is huge for their future.
Of course, I can't even balance my checkbook. So
Oh,
what do
yes,
I know?
I'm sure you can.
So good for them, and it's a nice thing to do. But more importantly, and well, that was important, but this is
very important, yes.
You have a vacancy on the board. First of all, what exactly does the board of the North Central Educational Services District do? What is their responsibility?
Well, first and foremost, they're my boss. So, like with the school district, the Educational Service District has a board that operates in the policy and standard setting for the budget setting, and then hires and supervises the superintendent. And so they meet once a month, and our board members come from our 29 school district regions. So it's based on population of the area. So we have a board member that comes from the Okanagan Valley who happens to live in Concanelli, a board member from East Wenatchee, one from Wenatchee, Moses Lake, Ephrata. The board position that's currently open is position number 2, and it serves the area that includes Stehekin, Lake Chelan, Leavenworth, Manson areas for school district areas.
You've had a vacancy for a couple of months.
Yes, our member that left our board just was a busy mom with very busy kids, and it became harder and harder to balance work and family. And so she was an amazing support system and really contributed a lot to the board. But she just found herself needing to spend more time with family.
And we certainly understand that.
Yes,
That's
absolutely,
certainly understandable.
absolutely. So the board time involved, we have a meeting once a month that usually I would say it's a noon meeting, which can be interesting for folks. But once a month, the fourth Wednesday of the month, and during that time we have, because of the travel time for folks to get in, we serve them lunch. Our meetings typically last about 2 hours. We have typically, I say typically because the board actually decides their schedule, but typically has 2 board retreats a year, one in the winter and one in the summer. And then they do participate in other activities as their schedule allows. For instance, our foundation has a banquet where we provide teacher grants, and we do a big celebration, and our board members come and share that event with us and try to get out to school events like Quincy or Cascade, who are just dedicating new buildings. They've gone out to be on site out there to support their schools too.
And Quincy has a new school. It's really nice. I love to see new infrastructure for the students. From a student, they want to go to a new school.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see bunches of new schools.
But what that really says is that you've got a community that's growing, and you've got a community that believes in their schools and wants their kids to really have that accelerated opportunity, and the pride that those kids have right now. I mean, to walk in there and they're holding their heads high, and there's not 1 ounce of trash or graffiti or anything anywhere. They're going to take really good care of those schools.
They're going to take pride of that school.
They take pride, and it gives them a different sense of confidence because they're from Quincy, and it really has built some pride. And the community to support that is just incredible.
I went to Wenatchee High School, as most people know, and my class was only the 10th class to graduate from what people still call the new Wenatchee High School, even though it isn't new anymore. And to see other kids come in for sporting events or cultural events, whatever, and to walk into a school that was only a decade older, even less than that, and they go, wow, you get to go to school here? And we go to a school that was built in 1933, and they get it, they understand it. They really do. The board is not a rubber stamp organization. If you're interested in joining the board, you have to do homework. You get your packets. You have to be prepared to go to these meetings.
Absolutely. So we send the packet out a week in advance. The board president and vice president and I jointly create that agenda. You need to study the information. We set policy, so they need to be prepared to look at the policies and to give feedback into whether they think they are the right policies for us and they have the right message for our system. And then also, spend time with the budget. We have a monthly budget review, taking a look at how we're taking in revenue and where we're spending our dollars at.
What kind of skill set does it need to serve on the NCESD board?
You know, we really, first, you have to be a registered voter. That
Okay.
is required by the state. And then really just a passion and interest in schools and in education is the primary skill set. There's no, professional background or experience education really that is needed, just a passion for education.
You just have to give a damn.
You have to care deeply about schools and children, yes.
Okay, and for this particular position that Michelle and I are talking about, you have to live in what geographical area
So the
they
geographical area covers Stehekin, Manson, Lake Chelan, Leavenworth, and I'm missing somebody. Lake Chelan, Leavenworth, Stehekin, Lake Chelan.
Okay,
Leavenworth,
so that area.
Stehekin, Cashmere.
Cashmere,
Mhm.
okay. And
Peshastin.
Peshastin. I can't forget Peshastin.
Can't
We love
forget Peshastin. Sorry about that, guys.
How long is is this? Are you taking over an unexpired term, and then you'll? Are the terms
Yes.
staggered? That kind of deal.
So the process is that because it's open during a non-voting period of time, so the person would finish out this year, and then next year when the board positions open up, usually late August, early September, and there's a window where you can apply to be a board member. And during that application period, they would need to submit a letter to the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction and make application that way. And then the boards from the 29 school districts we serve are the voters on who is elected to the board.
Okay, so a number of people are in on that decision.
Right. So
Okay.
during the interim time because it's not currently an open election time, during the interim time, our current board would conduct interviews with any potential candidates and then select the candidate from there.
Okay, so how's the vetting process going so far? Obviously, you would like to see as many candidates as possible, right?
Absolutely. So our board meets only once a month. So from the time that our board member resigned to the time that they had an opportunity to get together was about 3 weeks. And so then they said, okay, let's start publicizing. So we've really only been about 2.5 weeks into the publication for looking for a board member. So we'll keep that open until we have a pool of candidates, and then we'll call in those candidates for those interviews.
Do you handle the initial vetting process, or is that done by do you have a subcommittee who's handling this? That kind of deal?
So I love to meet with the potential candidates. So if you call me, I'll be happy to meet with you, come to you wherever you're at, and to share the work that the ESD does, to answer any questions that you have. Can also connect you with one of our current board members to also have an opportunity to really talk about from their perspective. I could say, well, there's not a huge time commitment, but they really do, have a commitment of time to invest in our kids and our communities.
And that's how a lot of these boards get filled. You have a friend who you think would be really good for it. You say, we have an opening, Bob or Janet. Why don't you give Michelle a call? You'd be amazed how that works out. Yeah.
Exactly.
So the board members knows what it takes. They're
Yes.
experienced and they know.
So if you are interested, you can reach me at North Central Educational Service District. The number is 509-665-2628.
I haven't seen you for a while. The STEM Summit back in August.
Oh my goodness.
How did that go?
We had a fabulous 3 days. We had just 300 teachers in from across North Central Washington in for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics training. We had representatives from our legislature, including the chair of the Education Committee, Senator Wellman, and her vice chair, Senator Wilson, at the table to talk about their vision for STEM education through the legislative lens. We had drones flying around the Wenatchee Convention Center. We had, science kits out. We had community members. We have a group of community members that are heavily involved in our apprenticeships and our career and technical learning and career connected learning. So we had some business partners that came in and talked about the importance of businesses being connected with their schools and what they're gaining out of helping prepare young people for the work world.
Yeah, because they want the talent pool, and they want well-trained, well-educated kids to get it to keep it going.
Absolutely.
Make it a going concern.
Yes, so we know that there's a shortage of employment workers across the area, across the nation really, and that we need more and more workers to join the workforce. And so we need to prepare them earlier and make sure that they have all the options available to them, whether it's joining the workforce, certification, or college.
And kudos to the sponsors, by the way. I forgot their names. I know Microsoft was one of them and a few others that actually forked over quite a bit of money to make this STEM Summit happen.
Yes, Clear Solutions,
Yeah.
Microsoft. We had a number of big partners that help support that so that teachers can receive ongoing training.
While I have you here, Michelle, once again, if you're interested in this open board position, it's position number 2, just give Michelle a call, 665-2629, 665-2629. Anything else on your mind while I got you here? Because I don't get to see you very often.
You know, I am happy to answer any questions that you have, though.
Okay. A train leaves Philadelphia traveling at 73 miles an hour. At the same time, a train leaves Pittsburgh traveling at 70. No, I'm not going to. I never could do those problem solving.
Yeah, then we'll call in the kids because they know how to do that.
Yeah. Johnny's mom sends Johnny to the store to buy 5 cans of beans. I can never get those problem solving. Michelle, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you also.
Yeah, and look forward to our another weekly or monthly visit with our friends from the North Central Educational Services.
Yes, thank you for having us. And certainly if you have any hot topics, we're happy to come in and address those. And work,
absolutely.
Work
You guys have an open invitation.
Thank you so much.
Anytime you want
we
to come see
appreciate
us,
being
Michelle.
here.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We're going to take a break. Be right back.
My name is Anaisa Lemus, and I teach at John Newberry Elementary. I had a tooth in the front that was just always causing me problems. It was just happening so regularly. I went to go get a root canal done, and the root canal didn't help a whole lot because when it came back, both of my parents went to Dr. Divis's office. They really recommended him because he had done such a great job on their teeth. I went and really have had a really pleasant experience with him. He just made me feel really at ease with everything. He was really confident with what he was doing. He said, this is one of his favorite parts of his job, which really made it easier for me because, when you're really passionate about something, they're going to do a good job. As a teacher, my students, I'll tell them randomly sometimes, oh yeah, with my fake tooth, they're always so shocked. Like, what? It looks like your real tooth. And I'm really happy with the results now.
This is Dr. John Divis. Please call us today.
Boating in the Wenatchee Valley starts at Bob File Boats and Motors. One look at the new Z series of Supreme boats and you'll know you're looking at a high-performance wake surfing boat. These boats are known as the Zeus boats because riding one is like surfing a lightning bolt, embodying the mythical trinity of surf, strength, and spirit. See the Supreme boat line at Bob File Boats and Motors on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee or online at bobfile.com.
Bob File Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bob File's gonna make you smile.
Leavenworth Oktoberfest. Fall is in the air and so is the aroma of sizzling bratwurst. It's time once again for the Leavenworth Oktoberfest. Enjoy 3 full weekends of fun for everyone. Your thirst will be satisfied with a variety of authentic German beer, and your hunger will be filled with German brats right off the grill. The sounds of Oompa will be delivered in 4 venues with live non-stop entertainment. For more information or to purchase tickets, go on to leavenworthoktoberfest.com.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Hey everyone, did you know that the NCW Life channel is North Central Washington's go-to source for news? No matter how you prefer to view your news, NCW Life has you covered. Watch the evening news weeknights on TV, stream it, read it at ncwlife.com, or catch the latest news by following us on Facebook. Stay informed with local news, sports, weather, and shows featuring local people and events. NCW Life, a reflection and a spotlight of the communities we call home.
And welcome back to this Monday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. Before we do the weather forecast, a programming reminder, my guest tomorrow on this very television show will be Joel Norman, the broadcasting voice of the Wenatchee Apple Sox. Of course, the Apple Sox have a new skipper. Kyle Crustangel announced he was leaving the club at the end of the regular season. They have a brand new manager who'll be taking over, a brand new head coach who'll be taking over for the Apple Sox next year. We'll talk about that with Joel. And, of course, since tomorrow is the first day of the baseball playoffs, which is my all-time favorite. Nothing against all the other sports, but to me the baseball playoffs are as good as it gets. That's why I had the sweatshirt on, plus it keeps me warm. So we'll talk baseball playoffs and Apple Sox baseball with Joel Norman. That's tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, Tom Nees from Serve Wenatchee Valley. They got some exciting news. They're going to be moving to a brand new location, a badly needed new location. They have simply outgrown their old space on Mission Street. So come the middle of next month, middle of October, they're going to be moving. And Tom Nees, the executive director of Serve Wenatchee Valley, will be my guest on this program come Wednesday. I wanted to give you and more stuff to come too as we get deeper and deeper. And we say goodbye to September and welcome October. But boy, it feels more like November outside, doesn't it? From the National Weather Service, let's take another look at your weather forecast. It's going to be fairly cloudy today. We will have some late afternoon sun breaks, but that cold air that came in over the weekend, it started really on Friday night, really came in Saturday and Sunday with some record-breaking temperatures, and I'll get to that in just a minute. That cold air is going to be hanging around for a while. That cold upper low is very, very stubborn. Doesn't want to go anywhere. Looks like here the Wenatchee Valley will be dry most of the day. A couple of light flurries in the upper elevations, but outside of that, the big story again is going to be the cold temperatures. Look at the overnight low tonight, 33 degrees. Yeah, we got some very cold temperatures coming our way. So they have a freeze warning. It goes into effect 2 o'clock tonight, so 2 o'clock Tuesday morning until 10 o'clock Tuesday morning. So for the Wenatchee Valley, more of a hard, heavy frost as opposed to downright freezing conditions. But as you can tell in many locations in our viewing area, it will get to freezing or below. So you have a distinct possibility of killing any kind of sensitive vegetation that's out there in your garden. You got to take care of that. If you have outdoor plumbing that's unprotected, that freeze and thaw cycle is bad news. You could have some issues there. So unseasonably cold, and I mean really, really cold temperatures coming our way tonight. But then things change. A couple of interesting statistics from over the weekend. We set some records. Yep, Saturday's high was 47 degrees, and that broke the record for the coldest high temperature for September 28th. The old record was 53. That was set back in 1971 and 1977. So Saturday's high of 47 degrees was 23 degrees below normal, but that had nothing on Sunday. Sunday's high was 28 degrees below normal. That's insane. 43 was all we got to yesterday. That, of course, broke the record for the coldest high temperature for September 29th. Not only did it break the record, it shattered the record. The old record was 59. We got to 43 yesterday, and it's going to be chilly all week long. All of those temperatures that you see, by the way, are well below normal. So again, to recap, for today, mostly cloudy skies until we get late in the afternoon, and we'll see some sun breaks, and a high today of 51. Normally, we're at 70 degrees for the afternoon high, the normal afternoon high on Monday on September 30th. That's just downright chilly. Again, for tonight, we have the freeze warning from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. Once we get past that, we should be okay. But right here in the Wenatchee Valley, our projected overnight low just above the freezing mark, and many locations will be below the freezing mark. I'm speaking of Leavenworth, I'm speaking of Plain, I'm speaking of the Upper Valley, Waterville, Chelan, Manson. You could get below freezing tonight. Tuesday, sunshine, but a high of only 58 degrees. So what's going on is this cold air is still going to be trapped down here. And even though the clouds will be departing, the problem is the clouds will be departing. So we'll have lots of sunshine, but with no clouds to hold the heat in, it's not going to get very warm. We're only going to get to 58 on Tuesday, again below normal. Tuesday night, no freeze warning. Looks like we'll be okay. 38 for the overnight low is still very chilly for this time of the year. Wednesday is the second day of October, lots of sunshine, 58. So it's going to feel like October weather, but it's just going to be cooler than it normally should be, with quite a bit of sunshine and dry conditions on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday. Weak system on Saturday, going to give us partly cloudy skies. We'll warm up back to near normal anyway by Saturday and Sunday. And last I checked, in fact, I'll check right now, they had some snow coming down on Blewett Pass, and they had a traction tire advisory on Blewett Pass. Right now, there's still a traction tire advisory. It's snowing lightly, but it looks like the plows have come through a couple of times. This is I've been in broadcasting for a very, very long time. This is the first time I can ever remember giving people a pass report in September. It just doesn't happen. By the way, Stevens is fine, and I-90 is fine. And once we get past the rest of the day today and into the super cold temperatures tonight, we'll be all right. We'll be okay. But boy, what a bone-chilling, cold weekend. Well, it's not the weekend anymore. It's a new week. Provided the show isn't canceled, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.